Hello everyone, I'm Francesca Froio and welcome back to my permanent makeup channel. In today's video, I'd like to share with you a new procedure that you have never seen before on my YouTube channel, because I am going to tattoo eyebrows on a man. What? Yes, even men can get this kind of procedures, even men who go through permanent makeup to their brows. Why? Sometimes it's due to, let's say, a lack of hair that could be due to a partial alopecia or simply, a hair loss. In other cases, men undergo this kind of procedure because they want to achieve a different look, a more bold look or more dramatic look to their brows. So I think it's gonna be something very interesting because it's not so common to see these kind of procedures for free on YouTube. Generally, if you're a permanent makeup artist, you would have to pay a lot of money to get this kind of education. But today, I'm sharing my knowledge with you guys totally free of charge, and I hope that you're really going to love it. So the first thing you want to do when you approach a male that wants to get their brows tattooed is you want to ask him, what kind of effect are you looking for? Because in some cases, it's not rare to find men that wear makeup to their brows and they want a more dramatic look, a little bit more lifted and shaped brows, a little bit more similar to a female brow, right? But there's also other men that do not want that kind of effect, that want something very natural, that want something very realistic. And natural hair in male, they don't grow like in a perfect symmetrical way, in a shaped and lifted look. No, they actually grow like a mess. They grow all the way up till here. They don't have a very defined high point. They don't have this open look. It's completely different tattooing male brows than female brows. And one of the major mistakes that I see everywhere on Instagram is that usually permanent makeup artists, clearly, they do more female brows than male brows, that's for sure. So the major mistake is that people think that they could use the same pattern of hair disposition that they use for female customers and apply it on a male brow. That's a no-go. That's absolutely a big mistake because that's gonna look fake on a man. That's gonna look too shaped, too polished. It's, there is something off and it's not going to satisfy the taste of the customer. In today's video, I will show you how to do it properly in a very natural way. Of course, we're going to use different parameters to measure how to shape the brows. So, sit tight. Hang your fast belts, because I'm gonna show you how to do it the right way and the natural way.
Okay, so this is our base, and as you can see, my customer really doesn't have a lot of natural hair. So I want to create for him like a design that it's soft and not too bold for him, because I think it would be a shock if he would see himself with too vivid or fluffy brows. To do so, I'm gonna first start by drawing the preliminary drawing, and I'm gonna mark every individual hair stroke into the skin through the usage of this special pencil that's called peel-off pencil, and this pencil is from BIOTEK. It's a special pencil that you can really sharpen by cutting off the edge of it, and it's really gonna help you to design very thin and crispy hair strokes so that look as close as possible to the hair stroke that you would do with your permanent makeup machine. And that's the most difficult part, like really I draw and then I have my customer sit down, then I erase some hair strokes, I draw new ones. I go on like this by having the customers to lay down and then stand up again to verify the symmetry constantly until I'm satisfied with the shape and the naturalness of the disposition of the hair strokes. Once that's done, then believe me, the hard part is gone. Now everything you need to do is just mark every hair stroke into the skin with your device. And that's very easy now. So take your time for the preliminary drawing, especially when you deal with alopecia client or customers that really don't have a lot of natural hair, because the disposition of the hair stroke is what's really gonna make the difference between a natural result and a natural result. So that's the time you invest into the pre-drawing. It's really an investment and is not a waste of time. Believe me, both you and the customer are gonna be happy if the pre-drawing it's done like perfect. Also, this shows to the customer what the final result will be, so he has a specific idea of what you have, let's say, designed for him, and he can approve that special design. Once that's done, I mark it into the skin, as I said, and for my customer today, I've chosen to use the INGOT pen from BIOTEK, and I'm choosing the stroke 3.8. There's like two strokes available, 3.2 and 3.8, so I'm choosing for him like the stronger one of the two. And for the needle, I have chosen to use the 1-point classic needle from BIOTEK as well. All of these needles are 100% made in Italy, extremely good quality. And as you can see, the needle doesn't vibrate, doesn't shake laterally, it's super stable. That's so key when you want to do hair stroke. Like, you really need to choose advice and also a needle brand that's gonna give you like that sharpness and that precision, and to reduce the vibrations on the needle tip to the minimum. Otherwise, it will be impossible to draw like thin and sharp hair strokes. So for him, I'm choosing the 1-point classic, which is quite of a thick needle, but I don't know if you've noticed during the pre-drawing, but my customer has such a delicate skin, so fragile. There's a lot of capillaries in the upper layers of the skin, so his skin is super fragile. I don't know if you noticed, but even when I was drawing, I hit the skin with the pencil and the customer started bleeding, even through the pencil, okay? So that's a big warning for me, and I noticed that his skin is very reactive. So in the second session, I've decided to use a bigger needle configuration. So I passed from a 1-point needle to a 3-point soft liner needle, which is like saying a 3RL needle. And if I think about it, maybe it would have been better to use that kind of needle also in the first procedure. So what you're seeing now is a 1-point classic, but what I'm suggesting you to use is a 3-point soft liner needle. It's gonna give you a wider trace, sure, but that's fine. Like, that's okay, because natural hairs on men, they grow thicker. So we're okay with a thicker hair strokes. That's fine. I would never use that kind of needle, for example, if I would be tattooing a female hair stroke, a female brows, because when we tattoo brows of women, we actually want to achieve a very, very thin hair stroke. But when we tattoo male brows, it's okay if we have like a thicker needle and if the hair stroke comes out a little bit thicker. That's fine, that's nature. So right now you're seeing a 1-point classic, and as you can see, there is a minimum bleeding, but a little bit is there. And that's strange, because generally when we tattoo brows, there's almost zero bleeding. So what you're seeing here, it's how I deal with very, very sensitive and fragile skins. Believe me, the customer is not feeling any pain at all. But the fact that the skin is reacting, even though I'm applying the softest touch, means that this customer really needs a special approach. So when I'm always very delicate, but on him I'm paying extra attention on being super gentle. And since, of course, when we tattoo, we want to make sure that every hair stroke is fully saturated in terms of pigment. How do I achieve this saturation? In his case, the saturation is achieved by layering the pigment. So I either choose to go on top of the same hair stroke maybe one more time. So generally I do it 3 times. On him, I'll do it 3 times per each hair stroke. But I make sure not to press too much. Okay, so very delicate and 2 or 3 times over each hair stroke. There is not a specific or a mandatory number of times that you need to go over each individual hair stroke. It really depends on the kind of needle you're using or the kind of skin your customer has. In this case, I'm dealing with a difficult one, so I'm doing 3 steps over each hair stroke. But feel free, go on as many times as is needed until you reach an even saturation. So every hair stroke needs to be full in pigment, needs to be vivid, rich, very dark, very defined. Okay. And for this procedure, I'm using BIOTEK pigments. This is my go-to choice. And BIOTEK pigments are all reabsorbable pigments, meaning that the customer will need to come back for a touch-up procedure once every year. That's a very responsible choice from artists, because these kind of pigments, if you don't retouch them, they just fade away slowly and gradually, and eventually will disappear completely from your skin, from the skin of the customers. So in case the customer changes mind, you are not, let's say, dependent on retouches. You can just choose, okay, I'm not going to show up again, and simply my permanent makeup is going to fade away more and more by the time goes by. And you will not need to go through a lot of laser removals to remove the procedure. You can just simply wait. And that's like my go-to choice every time I do permanent makeup on brows, on lips and on eyes. I like the fact that my customers can change their mind and I can adapt the shape, the color, or even the technique. From time to time, when I see them year after year, the trends change, the style of my customer change, and also the age of my customer changes, so I will always be able to adapt my technique to their desires. So, what I'm doing now, by the way, I didn't tell you the pigment I'm using, I almost forgot. I'm using the color Sex on the Beach by BIOTEK. Said before. Sex on the Beach is like a medium brown. It's from their rapid shading collection. So this line has a more liquid consistency, which I'm into it recently. Otherwise, they have, in BIOTEK, they have another line which is called More Than Ever, and it's a brow line still, and you have exactly the same shades, but in a more creamy consistency. So if you're into the creamy consistency and you want to go for a medium brown, choose Paris from More Than Ever. If you're into liquid consistency like me, choose Sex on the Beach from the Rapid Shading line. I mean, I could have used even a darker one, but I always like to start my first procedure with something not too strong, meaning I don't want to use a too dark color. And at the same time, I don't want to put too many hair strokes, because this person is used to see himself without eyebrows. And I want to avoid the first initial shock of putting too many. So I want to give him like a gradual experience to get used to wear brows. So in my first procedure, I almost always try to do not too many hair stroke, not too dark color, and a very thin needle. Since the skin of my customer is pretty sensitive and it got pretty red, I'm gonna use a mask of Harmony cream from BIOTEK. This cream has a de-swelling power and at the same time anti-redness, so I just leave a heavy layer on it, I leave it on for a good 10 minutes, and then when I remove it, the skin is already so much better, so much whiter, and it's perfect for taking the pictures. And as you can see here, this is the before and after. This is exactly what I was looking for. Brows are there, they're very defined, but as you can see, there are not too many hair strokes, they're not too full. And I think that as a first procedure, this is the perfect base.
I really hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. I had a lot of fun, flowing with my creativity and designing new eyebrows for my customer. So if you have liked this video, make sure to show me your love and your support by giving me a lot of thumbs up. and subscribing to the channel and activating the bell to receive all of the notifications. In the description box below, I will also link for you guys my Instagram profile so we can connect there as well. Thank you very much for being with me today, and I see you in the next videos. Ciao!